Hey everybody, how the hell are you? Borough Podcast back at it again. Guys, let's get through these sponsors, that way we can get right into the episode. We are brought to you this episode by AS Engineering Services. You can reach them at 631-560-0259 and at www.asengineeringservices.com. Hit them up for all your engineering needs, drawing up blueprints, redesigns of houses, new projects, old projects. They do everything. We are also brought to you by Municipal Land Survey. Hit them up at 631-345-2658. All your land surveying needs in the great state of New York. Commercial, residential, all that jazz. You want to put in a new pool, new fence, need to know for tax bills, all that good stuff. And then last but not least, we are brought to you by Made to Thrive, an American t-shirt company. You can reach them at www.madetothrive.us and also at madetothrive.us on Instagram. Guys, this episode we have Kyle Carroll. He is a writer and podcaster for My MMA News. We get into a few things with him, such as how he got into the game, what it's like to meet some of these guys on the way up, and then once they're in the UFC, he's handled local talent here from Long Island and New York, and then he's also been real involved in the scene in Wisconsin where he went to school. It's a pretty interesting conversation, and we also talk about some of how it is watching it grow and become as popular as it is, and where we see it going in the future. It's a very interesting conversation. Hope you guys enjoy it. Alright guys, we're live. Let's get into it.
Borough Podcast. D-Rock.
Yarbs.
Eric.
Our guest.
Kyle Carroll.
And then we have Stephen Blair, who will be Googling things for us today.
The Crippled Research Team.
Brutal right off the start.
I like to be consistent. Consistency is key. So Kyle, tell us a little about yourself. You're an MMA enthusiast. You got a blog.
Yeah, I've been writing for MyMMAnews.com now started in March 2014. I originally started with USCombatSports.com, which is originated up in Wisconsin and Milwaukee, but they kind of went bankrupt, went out of business type thing. And I started in 2011, covered the MMA scene up there in Wisconsin.
Is that where you're from originally?
No, I'm from Long Island, but I went to school up there, stayed 7 years, and decided to come back. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what was your just an MMA fan?
I wrestled in college, wrestled in high school. I actually wrestled in high school with Chris Wade.
Yeah, he knows Chris Wade real well.
Yeah, okay. I was a year ahead of him. I had an ice slip, and I just got into it through wrestling.
Right on.
And it was pretty sweet. And it's just fun. I found it interesting. Got into the writing 2011. Been doing it since.
Nice. I mean, you're pretty well known, at least locally here on Long Island. I know a ton of people have done interviews with you, myself included. Been on your podcast. Thanks for the invite.
Well, I got more coming up. I was trying to get guys on the fight coming, the Worlds Collide card.
I'm just fucking. I got to slap a jam in, right?
Your page is banging.
But yeah, man, you got a pretty good reputation.
I appreciate
From what I've observed, and locally, you got a pretty good name out there. And I know myself. If there's a fight card that I had, teammates or people I know that fought on a local amateur show, if I didn't get to attend it and get to hear the results, I know your website's pretty reliable. I always go to it to check it out myself.
No, I appreciate that. I know the owner does. Eric Cowell. He's from Pennsylvania, and he was actually the original. Was an editor at U.S. Combat Sports, and after that went out of business. He started this up and got it going. Asked me to join, and when I moved back to New York, I dove right into the MMA scene. I wanted to get right in, see what I could do, and I wasn't even sure if there really was an MMA scene, being it was illegal on the pro level, but amateur surprisingly was a lot bigger than I thought it was, and it's grown drastically since I've been back, since I've been back in New York 3 years. So it's pretty sweet seeing where it's come.
Yeah, what do you think in the last 3 years? How much have you seen the talent increase lately, and like just the shows improving?
Oh, drastically. When I remember, was it 2 years ago I was at a show, and I won't say the name of it, but there was a fight, and I know poor Eric got blasted.
Yeah,
back
we were
to the
there
Eric
too.
may or may not have been doing commentary together.
Yeah.
That night.
Yeah, I may have gotten punched while I was wearing a headset attached to the mic still.
Yeah.
It was, it's just leaps and bounds. It's come the talent of fighters. When I first showed up, I was like, they're just a bunch of chumps jumping in. But now, like, these guys are training full time. The gyms are real, and they're getting at it.
Yeah, it's not guys coming out of backyards.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're not getting these knuckle brawlers who coming out of prison and stuff and think they're...
I'd say you get one per card
Yeah,
still,
definitely.
but not like 5 or 6 per
Yeah.
card like you used to.
There's definitely a ninja trained in the magical martial arts at least one in each event. A guy comes out and you're like, oh, what gym do you train at? Afghanistan and Iraq. That's the gym. And you're just like, oh, all right.
Yeah,
It's a gym. That's not a gym. It's a battlefield, buddy.
Yeah, it's a battlefield.
yeah, there's a huge difference.
The moves-
People don't realize
The moves
it's a
you use are
sport.
different.
Yeah. No, you're trained
You
to
have
kill.
no gun and,
And-
no grenades. So.
To be fair, full disclaimer: the melee at that show is not the show's fault. Per
No,
se.
no, definitely
But,
not.
It's actually a very well run.
But you know what they learned from, because this went from no security to now they have security,
Right.
and it was a learning curve. That's
Right.
all. And the shows that they put on are fantastic.
Right, you can't account for sometimes.
No, you got
the
a bunch of
crowd,
meatheads in
yeah.
there that.
Which I've noticed actually the last event, Eric and myself went to it actually, and the crowd was much more pleasant than previous crowds. I would actually say that now I wouldn't mind being a spectator at one of these shows, where previously, if I didn't know somebody fighting, I definitely wasn't going, and even if I did know somebody fighting, if I wasn't cornering them, I almost didn't want to go because of the crowd makeup sometimes. Like you said, it's a lot of kids in the crowd, a lot of guys who think they're watching, I could fucking do that. They get all hyped up and they want to be the guy in the cage, but really they don't have the nuts to step in the cage, so they start fights in the crowd or whatever.
I was at one of the early UFCs in Atlantic City sometime around 2001 or 2002, and I remember Tank Abbott fought and lost, and he lost to a very fruity toe hold type
Frank
move.
Mir.
Frank Mir was against Frank Mir.
Nah, he's fruity for sure.
Yeah, it was real. but the crowd didn't understand, and I remember looking up into the bowl of the arena, and there was 8 fights going on in the crowd at one time.
Wow.
And I remember and not like one-on-one fights, like brawls. And over the course of the night, I think I counted either 14 or 16 brawls in the crowd in the stands at the UFC event.
Now, how many were wearing tap-out shirts?
No, this was way back before
It's
the Ultimate
pre-tap
Fight.
out.
This is pre-Ultimate Fighter show.
Right, but I mean tap-out still was...
No, these were like guys that were at AC for like the weekend, and the UFC wasn't popular, and that was their, let's go watch Bloodsport.
He just stumbled into
Like
it.
UFC wasn't even on television at this point. It was
it's still the Dark Age.
It was
Tank
like Dark
Abbott is
Ages.
Back in the day.
That's all.
Well, Tank Abbott
Yeah,
Well, he
transcended
came back.
both,
Though.
yeah.
He came back though. But
It was-
you said UFC specifically, right?
Yeah,
So-
this was, we're talking way back when
It's like 02, 03.
what's his name was fighting. Tim Sylvia had just came out. Gan McGee was still in there.
So it was like
And-
02, 03.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
okay.
Phil Baroni was one of like the big names
Not
at the time.
super
Dave
early.
Manet. So it wasn't like 90s, but it was
Yeah.
definitely
No, it was still
early
the Dark
2000s.
Ages
Yeah.
before like it was back on TV. And, yeah.
It's funny. I remember seeing IFC. I think it was with the hell's the big guy Roy Nelson that used to fight in that, where it was like teams and you had a lineup,
Oh,
almost like
yeah.
a
Oh, the IFL.
yeah, the IFL. That's
the
it.
IFL, yeah.
And I remember seeing that on TV. I was probably in middle school, and I know me and my brothers absolutely loved it. We didn't know what the heck it was though. We never saw it again. It was on like one time.
Yeah.
the
Never
IFL
saw
was
it
actually
again.
pretty good. I enjoyed it.
It
There was
was
like a lot of good guys that came out.
They just the overall concept just didn't mesh with MMA.
It was like a
because
team
you
comp,
can't
almost
do
like
that.
a
People
wrestling
get
lineup.
injured.
And
It just doesn't work.
yeah, yep.
You could probably do that now. I think back then MMA was too much in its infancy. People didn't even know what MMA was at
Yep.
that point. To make it a team sport would doesn't make sense. But now you could do that because there's like a perfect example. A buddy of mine, Skills. He texted me. He's like, "Hey man, I don't know anything about MMA, but I have this DraftKings thing." And he won something, and they put him into this pool for UFC 206. He's like, "Do you want to make my picks for me, and I'll split the winnings with you?"
Not bad.
So like it's gone that far that it's on like these legitimate like
betting
fantasy,
websites.
but
fantasy league,
like
yes.
fantasy leagues. They have MMA fantasy leagues. Where now I wonder about that IFL team setup would probably work more today than it would 10 years ago. When it was
Gotcha. You know, to get fantasy to work though, you really need a pretty big viewer base.
It's getting there.
And I don't know. I think it's getting there, but I don't know that it's there yet. Whereas football, the people that are hardcore fans, they like, nah, what's the date? It's like 3 months down the road. It's like summertime. And they're like, I'm not going to be able to make the Giants playing that night.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? It's 3 months away. How do you know
that's
that?
different though from fantasy.
Okay.
That's different from fantasy.
But the people watch. That's the key.
Right.
The whole thing with fantasy
But
is
you don't have to
it's
watch.
designed to watch. So to get
You don't
people
have to
watch
watch every game still to operate your fantasy, though. That's the thing.
Okay.
As long as you're up on it, as long as you're aware of what's going on in the league, you don't necessarily have to watch.
Well, there's
I'll tell
like
you-
a season though.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually a little different. Like, fantasy really got people into watching games.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a diehard Giants fan. I watch the Giants every week. But I didn't watch, I'd watch Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football. Sometimes nothing else is on. But it got me fucking interested. Like, playing fantasy football got me interested in watching the Dolphins play the fucking Browns on a Thursday Night Football game. Normally I'd be like, I don't fucking care. But oh shit, I got my wide receiver playing. Let me just check it out and see what's going on. So it actually brings people into those games that they wouldn't normally give a fuck about. So I think that will actually bring people to watch, say, like a UFC fight night or something like that as it starts to grow.
shows.
Yeah. Even though it's not a necessity, but if you did it, you're probably going to be more inclined, like Chris said, hey, I picked this guy, let me see what happens. And maybe you become a fan out of it.
Yeah, it's another way to get people interactive with it.
Yeah.
Like, just think of how many broads are doing fantasy football, and
Tons.
they don't know how. They don't know
I
what
love
the
you
fuck's
for
going on.
saying broads.
Me too.
Yes.
You're on my side on that one.
Yeah, I'll take one of those too.
They don't know what the hell's going on in the game, but they just I've had ex-girlfriends. They have their own fantasy team, and they're in our league, and they're winning the fucking thing.
Yeah.
but-
Why'd you pick the Chiefs? Oh, I like red.
No,
or he's cute, or some bullshit like
Yeah,
that.
like I like the quarterback.
the end all be all of that is the March Madness brackets.
Yep.
That is the office brackets and shit. Like, oh well, they're the Bears, so I like their.
A bear
It's
will
just
beat
cute,
a
yeah.
tiger.
It's crazy when they win that
and then they
crap.
win. And you're like,
Cuddly.
God
like,
darn
what
it.
the fuck? I watch 800 games this fucking season.
I've applied,
I win.
I've applied statistics and algorithms, and this bitch won because bears are cute. Fuck.
I want to just defend Chrissy. She actually watches football, enjoys the game, doesn't have fantasy, not interested in fantasy at all. But I know if she listens to this and I don't say that, she'll probably hit me.
Let's be fair, she's interested in some kind of fantasy because she married you. No other explanation.
Are you saying I'm dreamy?
No. I'm saying that she's hoping for a miracle. It's not gonna happen.
But, well, in all honesty with that, too, I do know a bunch of girls that play fantasy football and know
No, the game.
way too much about this football. You're like,
Yeah,
they
all right.
get into it.
Yeah,
Well,
really
now,
into it.
like all these websites now, there's an opportunity to watch video, see stats. There's a stat for everything now.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's not like in the olden
unbelievable.
days
Yeah.
when you had to look at do research or look into the newspaper to see how everybody did.
Start asking
How did
questions.
they used to keep track of it? Like prior to the internet, was it possible? Would they make books every year? To
Yeah.
tell you
So
how-
some
yeah,
old
they still
guy
do.
taking
They still
stats.
do.
That's it.
The Elias Sports Bureau.
Yeah.
The fucking amount of information that company has is ridiculous. They have a stat for everything. They're like,
And that's before all this.
oh yeah, now it's just more readily available.
digital now.
Yeah,
It's the same
it's
thing.
just digital. But they'll be like, oh well, Tony Romo throws more touchdown passes when his dog fucking went out and took a shit before the game. You're like, wait, what? How do you even know that?
If it's over 79 degrees,
Yeah.
Eli Manning throws worse. Or something, and
Yeah,
he has under 10 yards.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
And they
Yeah,
and they
they come
use
up
those
with-
because there's big money
Oh, yeah.
involved with that. Like I saw the movie Moneyball. Like, but that's essentially all I know about sports.
Well, it's funny now that it's become real big business because I like to watch SportsCenter and they have segments dedicated to fantasy
This whole
performance.
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
The ticker underneath every day you watch
Yeah.
football. It's just fantasy points next to each player's name.
I guarantee you, if you press the right button on your remote, there's a fantasy app that overlays on the right side of your
Oh,
screen.
well, they give you the fantasy breakdown for that player for the week, like, no matter what they're talking about. And they do it. It used to only be for, skilled positions, but now it's for everything. Because you can draft a team for, and have linemen, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, defensive backs. Like, they have everything. It's crazy.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fantasy guy, and I played one time years ago. Actually, when we were both working at Sprint, I played for half a season. I was undefeated. I was killing it.
And you gave up.
And I just stopped playing. Like, I just you have to put your line. And I just I couldn't do it anymore.
Well, if you're not interested in the primary object like the game, I mean,
I do like the game, but I'll be honest with you. What happened also is it had a reverse effect on me.
It ruins the game for you.
It ruined the game for me, actually.
That's kind of how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm a football guy. I love football. Like, I watch every football game on TV, but I play fantasy football, and I try to get away from it. Like, I set the lineup and just walk away because, like you said, reverse effect. You're watching it, and then you're like rooting for some guy that you
normally would.
Like, screw that guy. I don't want Ohio State to win. Fuck them.
Fuck Ohio State.
Yeah, like it started ruining parts again. I'm like, I have to hope that Dallas wins to help my fantasy team. Fuck Dallas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, like, I just couldn't. So, and then not only that, I'm fucking space cadet. So, like, every Sunday to remember to set my lineup got too much. And I was just like, fuck this.
I got pulled over in Wisconsin once because I was speeding to the library to set my lineup. And the cop pulled me over. He's like, "Where are you going in such a hurry?" I'm like, "Set my fantasy lineup."
He's like,
And he let you go?
He gave me a warning. I get there. The library's closed.
I should have given you a...
I forgot it's Sunday.
It makes me wonder, the fantasy thing being applied to MMA now, I feel like it would ruin MMA for me too, because, like, say you have a fighter who maybe you're not crazy about, but he's the better guy and you pick him, and now
you're rooting for him.
Yeah, then you're rooting for the guy. It's like I don't know. I don't know if that might water it down a little bit.
I don't even know how the fantasy MMA is set up. Like, I've bet parlays and stuff like that when I'm in Las Vegas, and, like, you could sit down and the fights are on. You can go up to the little desk, you pick 6 fights, and you pick the winner. You pick 3 fights, you pick the winner of those 3. How does fantasy MMA work? Is it something similar, or do
I have no fucking idea.
No, it's more.
Sure.
Do they keep
more
track of
depth.
moves?
Yes, it's
Get out of here,
ring domination. It's everything that basically anything that that the judges would be using to score a fight is significant strikes, takedowns, things like that. Like, you get extra points for winning the fight, but you don't have to win the fight to be awesome in these leagues.
That's interesting. I feel like statistics in combat sports in general, like MMA and boxing, they aren't really utilized or looked at as heavily as in all of the other sports. Like, in football, like, you can, like, literally, they'll, like, tell you the guy's shoelace colors and how, like, well he does, and they, like, know, like, everything about, like, every guy. Like you were saying earlier, this guy plays very good in the rain. This guy plays, like, very good when the temperature is cold.
They got a stat for everything.
Yeah, MMA, you'd think that, like, if you were fighting a big guy, like, we work for...
Oh, you get out of Goldberg is this guy embraces the grind.
Yeah. You would think that they would look like, oh, the guy I'm fighting lands like this percentage of jabs. I'm going to have to work on that. And you'd think that the fighters in their camps would always be going to the databases to try to get them. But I don't think Bob or our friend, our boss at CompuBox has ever been called by anyone in the MMA world to get their stats. And he said only once in a blue moon with boxing. And I was figuring with boxing, there's big money in that sport. If you're making millions of dollars a fight, you think you'd go get your opponent's whole stat history so that you could say, like, oh, look at this guy.
Tendency breakdown.
Yeah, he's doing this. Look, he lands this in this round. Or, like, this is when he turns it on. He's a real good cross or jab, whatever. He lands a high percentage of whatever. You would be like, all right, if he lands a super high percentage of cross-hook combos, we're going to work on you not getting hit by a cross hook combo. But
now, that's where I work. We work on that kind of stuff. There's like a whole bunch of ridiculous data with that, and it's big data. But even the bigger sports don't utilize that as much as you think or effectively. Just recently, there's a guy. I think it's high school ball where he will not kick a field goal.
Yeah,
right. You saw that, and this guy's winning because statistically,
What does he do? The onside kick?
Yeah, he onside kicks, and then he punts or doesn't
no,
punt.
he won't punt
Yeah,
either.
yep.
And he's knocking it out of the park, but it's just because it's a statistical
statistics
situation, right? It's like counting cards in blackjack. You have that half of 1% advantage, and if it's the law of large numbers, and I would imagine the same thing's got to happen here. I mean, if you look at these scoring rules right here that I heard.
As far as the onside kicks with the football, I'm sure that's like a very obscure move, and it probably throws everybody off, and they're not used to dealing with that pattern.
We watched it. Chris and I went Sunday night. The school that I work at was in the Long Island Championship game. And
Oh, you went to it?
yeah, so
Nice.
we went, and it was Seaford versus Shoreline Wading River. And the first possession, Seaford marched down, kicked the field goal, and then onside kicked the ball.
How dare you? SWR, okay? SWR.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Yeah, SWR. The Shoreline Wading River, right? The guy was driving me and Chris nuts. The guy kept saying, SWR, vote for SWR. I'm like, the
Wait,
fuck?
what?
Shoreline Wading River.
I've never heard that before in my life.
Yeah, neither did
I
we.
grew up right next door.
This guy kept saying SWR, and I'm like,
They
I've
say
never
it.
heard anybody say SWR.
I never heard anyone say that, but I've seen it written before.
Yeah, and I'm like, I kept thinking, like, all I could think of every time he said it was SWV.
My rebuttal was, these kids weren't even fucking born when SWV was around.
Real.
You're very old.
Who won the game?
SWR.
SWR. Gotcha. So we're looking right now at the DraftKings site. We're looking at their fantasy breakdown. So looks like they have a point allotment for each different category: significant strikes, takedowns, reversals, sweeps, knockdowns. Advance? I don't know what an advance is. Is that moving forward or
Yeah, it would be like
right
if
down
you're
here.
grapplings from like
from the top position?
yeah,
advancing your
you
position.
steal the back or
gotcha,
something
Half
like
guard,
that.
side guard.
Pretty
brown
ignorant
belt,
for
so
jiu-jitsu
right here.
brown belt.
Oh yeah, they got it written down there.
Yeah, I have the notes for you.
Gotcha. So there is fantasy MMA, and it's very, very in depth.
You know, sport actually uses like old stats like this for rankings is NCAA wrestling. They have takedowns, reversals. Oh, you put all that into an equation to come out with the rankings, and it's pretty like plus the wins and losses.
Yeah, I've seen that. When they do the national championships on ESPN, they actually do throw around a good amount of stats.
They do the math.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's tons of math
They
in
put
it.
a lot of it out there.
Because some of these guys have the same record, and they have to come down. And if they haven't wrestled each other, or if they have wrestled each other, and they're 1-1 against each other, then they have to come up with something else.
Yeah, something to see what separates the two of them.
Yeah, by seeding. Yeah.
There's over 300 guys in the tournament between 10 weight classes.
Wow, really?
So I had a question
Yeah,
for
it's
you, Kyle,
packed.
to get back to more towards what you're doing. What's your favorite element of covering the fights? Like,
Favorite element of covering the fights? It's when I first started. I was like, I'll write a little, and then it's best seat in the house. And I'm sitting
You
ringside.
have the best seat in the
Yeah, I
house.
get to watch all the fights and all, but it's become kind of like you get to know like everyone and their story and everything about them, like why they fight. Because amateur, some like Eric over here, he fights because last night he likes violence.
And they didn't even listen to the podcast.
Oh, that's what he said last
I
night.
don't need to listen. I know.
We know you.
I've been training with Eric for 10 years, and we've been friends for 10 years, and we've done 60 fucking podcasts. I know.
Some guys like just to fight and or just they want to make it to the next level and go to the UFC, make money for their families. But I just like seeing. Like I love watching fighting. I think it's awesome. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and college wrestling, not that WWF crap. And then
Points for calling it what it really is. The WWF also. WWF.
Yeah, fuck that.
so
You're racking up points that I caught.
So, like, when I get to watch that, and then I get to meet everyone, and just kind of being a part of it, it's just really kind of special. It's pretty cool. Just seeing how everything's developed, too, over the last few years.
It is the best seat in the house because I've gotten so spoiled now that if I get invited to go to an MMA event with one of my friends, like I was asked if I wanted to go to, UFC 205 in Manhattan
Okay.
at the Garden. They're like, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "How much are the tickets?" I think they were like $800 or $900, which I'm like, you know what? It is probably a cool event to be at. But then I was like looking where the tickets were, and I'm like, I know the Garden very, very well. I did some construction projects there, and I essentially built the inner bowl. And I was like, oh, these seats are not really going to be able to like see very well. I was thinking that, I didn't say it, and I was just like, oh, I'll pass. I just want to see. I'd rather watch it on TV. Which now at this point, I want to watch the events on TV, or I want to sit right next to the cage.
Yeah.
It's like no in between. There's 40 rows back. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, first tier stadium seating. Nope.
No thanks.
Seven rows back on the floor seats. Nope.
I agree because it's like we've gotten spoiled in two ends of it. Like you're either in the fucking cage, or you're cornering somebody where you're either just outside or inside, or you're doing the fucking commentary. Like we've been, like right there. That when you end up, in the peasant section.
I've had UFC tickets. I paid $400 or $450 for the UFC tickets, and I was so far away when two guys that sort of looked alike were fighting. I couldn't tell who was who. And I was just like, I said, how can you spend $450? I couldn't even hear when the guys were hitting each other. You couldn't even hear the noise.
I'd rather watch it on TV at that point.
Yeah, at that point,
I can see everything. I see replays.
You can't even tell who's winning the fight sometimes if you're at a certain distance. Like,
and you get to enjoy cheap cold beer on the couch.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And you gotta go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Gotta go to the bathroom. In and out. 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to watch a fight.
That's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah, I always come to your website, like Dave had mentioned earlier. Like if I miss fights and they're local fights and I can't figure out if my friends won or if I had a whole bunch of friends, your site's like the first site that I go to, just because I know that you're always there and you're always sending in the results and getting it up.
Yeah,
there.
I try to, like when I'm there, I try to put it up on. It's hard because a lot of these places don't have Wi-Fi or anything, and I try to put it up on social media and stuff right away, but. Can't always get everything up there, but so I try to put in the article right away.
What now? Do you only do amateur right now?
I've covered pro and stuff like that. Wisconsin, there was a lot of pro. They would have mixed cards where it'd be amateur first and then pro fights afterwards. But around here it's just it's a pain in the ass to leave New York, Long Island, and stuff. So I do mostly amateur in the area.
I would assume that now that it's legal, you're gonna once they figure out this whole insurance thing, you're gonna start seeing pro Ami cards like that.
We're gonna see Cage Fury Fighting Championship already booked an event.
Oh really?
Yeah, they got an event in I think it's February if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I don't remember where it was exactly, but it was somewhere that impressed me to some extent. So. Cage Fury Fighting Championship's already booked regardless of the money for the insurance, and I'm sure about Ring of Combat will pop up here soon. They'll be one of the first ones.
Ring of Combat, Lou, I think he's got like a special deal with Atlantic City.
I know he has a good deal down there.
Yeah, he's got it.
So I don't see him leaving there anytime soon.
I bet he does a show up here, though. I bet he goes back and forth.
Probably, yeah, with the amount of Long Island and New York fighters he's got. I could see it being that way.
I would love to see like a New York versus New Jersey card almost.
I'm surprised they haven't done something like that.
That's what we've been doing all these years anyway. It's like they'd bring us down to New Jersey to fight. They'd have some guy that was like 40-0 or 40-1, and they'd be like, "Oh, if you look him up online, he's only 2-1." And then they'd have some like New Yorker fight him. They'd be trying to play that game with us for years.
Well, this has been one of our pet peeves for a while with the local MMA scene here. Is that you get stuck fighting
the same people.
It's like, man. It kind of impedes progress with everybody because these are people you should be training with, not fighting.
Yep.
And if we bring guys down from upstate, bring guys from there's got to get some more diversity. Fighting people.
Fighting the guy that lives in the town next door to you sucks.
It
sucks because you're running into his family members all the time before and after. You're running into their friends all the time before and after. All of your friends are running into all of their friends.
Or it's a mixed bag of your friends and their friends in the same social groups.
I've had fights where I've had friends that are friends with both of us, both me and my opponent. And I've had words with promoters about this. They'll be like, "Oh, why don't you fight that guy?" Because that guy went to my high school, and we're all friends. We all know each other. We just train at different gyms. Why don't you get somebody from another state or somebody from the city to come fight me?
That's what's really starting to happen, or has been happening, is city becoming like almost city versus Long Island type situation. And you get a lot of these guys from the Bronx, Queens, and
there's a lot of gyms that they're cranking out fighters now.
Well, it's about time. I mean, because for the longest time, you're fighting guys from gyms 5 miles away.
Yeah.
It's like,
from
what
a
the fuck?
functional standpoint, you want to do that anyway.
No, you
because
don't.
You don't want to pick. Well, you don't want to pick from the same pool. Is what
No,
I'm trying to say.
he's saying
I'm
he
saying
was
further
agreeing.
away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay.
what you have is, like you said, you have a group of friends that are. It's like a Venn diagram, and that overlap is
They're
are
gonna-
seats that are not. You're not selling.
Right,
Yep.
you're
Yeah.
going to get the same group of people that are coming to the fight, regardless of who the other fighter is,
Exactly.
because
And
you guys are in the same
dependent-
social circle.
Right, and depending on how how it all works as far as the ticket sales and whatever, you start to get really, really competitive in that you're trying to screw one guy to meet your sales. Where
I've had long discussions with 2 promoters about this, and I've told them, I say your job is to build stars. You're complaining because you need the guys to sell more tickets for you. That's your job. You're the promoter. You're supposed to be promoting us as the athletes and you as your event. You're supposed to put yourself up on a pedestal so that everybody can see, and you cannot rely on your talent to go out and physically sell tickets for you, and that's the only saving grace of your show. You need to have something that people want to go to as a social outing for the weekend. Like when the circus comes to town, everybody says, yeah, that's a really nice night out. Let's go to the circus. It's not like the clowns are saying, the ringmaster says to the clowns, how many people do you know in New York? Oh, you have 40 relatives? You need to sell at least 30 tickets to the circus when we go to New York. It's not like they're going around to each clown. And I try to get the promoters to like think like the way that a real promoter works. Like if you have 2 undefeated guys in the same weight class from the same town, no, don't even make them fight each other. You're trying to build them both up. Don't make them fight each other. Just let them bring in. If you make them fight each other, one guy loses. His next fight, you get only half of his fans because the winning streak is over. You need to let those guys fight guys from New Jersey, fight guys from the city, fight guys from upstate. Don't have them build their records up and then smash one of them. Those are the guys that are your money makers. Those are the guys that sell 50, 7,500 tickets. Don't build people up and then smash them down. Just you need to build talent so that when it's time for them to go professional, they have good records, and it's not like we're having George St. Pierre fighting Anderson Silva and it's like all the belt holders are all fighting each other the whole time. It doesn't make sense. Then nobody wants to see it because everybody's got losses and nobody's on a streak.
Not only that, also at the amateur level with the fan base, you get people that are there to see one person.
Yep.
Their guy. They're not there to see a night of fights. They're not MMA fans. They're fans of the person they see. And honestly, sometimes your friends can be the most fucking fickle. If you go out there and you have a bad night, you lose a fight, they're not interested anymore.
Yep.
They're like, why am I going to come watch you lose, man? Or
Yeah,
like,
they'll bust
whatever.
your back.
Yeah, it's like, they don't, because people don't understand what it really takes. They don't understand that, like, dude, everybody loses, and if you have a bad night, like, yeah, all right, dude, you play basketball, that's great. And if you have a bad night playing basketball, your team loses, or even your team wins, but you had a shitty night, you shot 0 for 4.
Yeah.
You had a bad night, but your team won, and nobody puts it on you. Like, if you have a bad night in the cage, there's physical consequences, and you don't get to get that back. Like, a basketball game, you have 1 or 2 a week. You don't get to have that back in 2 days. You got to wait months. And, like, nobody understands that, and they think, like, oh, you spent all that time training and you lost? I don't get it. Like, what do you mean you don't get it, asshole?
She just got up.
Yeah, well,
She just won.
not,
Why did
it's
she
just,
knock him out?
But this all goes towards what you were saying. Like, that kills people's motivation maybe to come out the next time.
It does. When you have an event, an MMA event, it has to be an experience for the fans, and that's how you can make your money. You need to have beer, you should sell food, you should make it pleasant. It should be almost like a theatrical experience. There should be good seating with bleachers in the back that are a little bit cheaper. You need to have like a walkout so that people get amped up. You need to have good
sell
stuff.
the product,
Yep.
and then the people.
You sell them the
Some
show.
people love the walkout. They
Yeah.
think the music walking up. They think that's some of the best part of it.
Yep. People are in it for the theatrics.
Yep.
And I fought for, it's an unnamed promotion in New Jersey, and I remember I fought for them, and I showed up, and he's like, all right, I sent you 50 tickets, what are you giving back? 50 tickets. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I didn't sell any, man. He's like, well, we sent you those tickets so you can help out the show and build the promotion. I said, look, man, I'm from Long Island.
Yeah, no one's really traveling that far.
No one's, I was like, I can barely get people to come see me fight at the Upsky Hotel, which is 10 minutes away from where I live. I'm like, it's hard enough to do that. I'm like, you think I'm going to get people to come here, drive 5 hours, spend money on a hotel room, spend money on a ticket? Like, this is a pretty big endeavor. I'm like, I'm not taking the time that it takes out of my training. I'm like, I'm not here for that. I said, I'm here, my job is to train, fight, and win. I was like, your job is to promote. It's not my job, man. He's like, well, then we might have to talk about the next time. I was like, dude, I don't care. I don't have to fight for you again. That's not my job. My job isn't to promote your fucking show.
See, I don't mind selling tickets because I understand that like everybody's got to make a little bit of money. But when they get so pushy that if they're not doing the right thing, when you used to have to drive around the olden days with hard tickets, it was horrible. And actually, like take cash, keep the cash in an envelope. Now
that's what I had to do.
Now they can do the online way. The online way is
That's
so
the
much
best.
easier.
That's the easiest. All you have to do is, share a link. Fine, I don't mind doing that, but
Just tell them where they go. They click your name. Boom.
yeah. Outside of that, and listen, everybody knows me. I'm notoriously terrible at promoting.
You're a shitty fighter at promoting yourself.
Yeah.
Like he'll fight, and nobody will know until the day before. But what do you mean?
Well, that's like talking about like doing like the media and stuff. When you bring some fighters on to get them to talk and stuff, whether it's a podcast or an interview, they don't like some fighters just don't like. It's one thing to actually talk about yourself and get into it and all, but then some fighters come on, give you one-word answers. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to write about now? He's boring as fuck. Hopefully he fights a lot better. Like, what do you write about?
I would respect that if you did write that.
What goes through your head when you get somebody on the podcast and you're just like, oh, this guy doesn't get it? Are you just like, this is going to be a rough one, we're going to make it a short one?
Yeah, I try to start going, like, digging for more questions and stuff.
Like
There's only so much you can ask without getting answers back. Mm-hmm. So then it's like, all right, well, it's nice talking to you. Have a good one. And you just end it short. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's... Like, you got to be able to, like, as a fighter, like, when you get an opportunity to talk and stuff...
You need some public speaking skills.
Market yourself. Say something ridiculous. Like, when I did interview with, what was it? Brienne, what the hell was her last name? I forget. Blonde-haired girl. She was big old knockers, and wrote the article and it exploded.
Yeah, they were...
I know you're talking about the kickboxing chick.
Yeah, her boobs were so big.
Yeah, and she like said something while we were like, and I record the interviews and stuff. Said something, so I I just quoted her. Just put a little sense of humor in it, and it just blew up. It was on ESPN, CNN.
She fought in China.
Yeah. Oh, she was supposed to. I don't think she ever went, but she was.
Yeah, so we got this.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about.
What was it say?
Yeah,
Russillo?
Yeah, Russillo. That's it. Super nice girl and everything.
This is just some random dude that's talking about it, though.
Yep,
it's not the actual article or
And it's funny because someone just posted another article about it on it. It was in Newsday and New York Post and everything.
Those things are pretty big.
They're monsters, but
crap.
She's the one that can't get fights, or she can't like move around the ring because
it was like she was up a weight class or something.
Yeah,
right?
she
fight up to weight classes.
She was fighting like 150, and then she said she'd like to get to 135, but she's like, I got a big rack and it's harder to get down.
Oh yeah, she's a bartender too, right? So she probably uses that to make some tips.
Yeah, I'm sure she made a lot more money that way.
Yeah,
for her, I ain't even mad.
Super nice girl, but who's it? I think it was BJPenn.com. They steal everyone's shit and twist it and run with it.
Do they really?
Yeah, and they took it, they put the quote in, put our website name in, like that's where they got it from, and then they ran with it, and then it just exploded. It was on Barstool and ESPN, CNN had it.
Wow! So mainstream picked it up.
It was viral. It went nuts.
Hopefully she made money off of it. Shit.
She's made some money. She got signed for a little while by World Series of Fighting Global. And they were going to send her to China to fight and stuff, and
then they ran out of money.
Well, I think she just got away from it. I know she got sick for a while.
Oh, okay.
And then she had like a pneumonia or something, and it just kind of took her out of the game for a little while. But yeah.
Yeah, those are big. I'm not saying this to be like obnoxious, but
you gotta call it what it is.
Yeah, those are large, man.
Yeah,
there must be low hangers.
I imagine it's probably hard to fight with those things. To be honest,
that's got to be real difficult.
That posture is definitely forward leaning.
I just imagine when you put someone like say in like a bear hug and you squeeze them, the person gets in close and just motorboat.
If there was a,
I'm glad you said that.
If there was a
because I wanted to say it.
If there was a fantasy podcast app right now, you were scoring so many fucking points. You are the top scorer right now of the things that are coming out of your mouth.
It's like plus 100, plus 100, plus 100.
You're racking up fantasy points on the podcast game right now.
You know what people would pay? You know what promoters? You want to sell tickets to your fight? Arrange that.
Well, it's funny because after I wrote the article for this fight, like a Chinese newspaper in the city showed up. The amount of media that showed up and was around the ring for this fight was absurd.
Because it's a spectacle, like
Yeah,
Eric was saying. You want to make it like
It's got to
that
be a
for
play.
everything.
It's got to be a play.
Exactly.
Everything's got to be part of it. I have friends. I never really understood this until recently. I'm real analytical when I'm real analytical in every aspect of life. Analytics and deficiency, those are my two things. They get my dick hard. But so
Currency jokes.
Yeah, currency jokes. But I watch sports very analytically. Like if I'm at an event, I'm there to see the players play. I'm hoping that some magic happens while they're playing and somebody pulls off some good plays. Or if I'm at the fights, I'm there to watch the fights. I never really take into account like the atmosphere. And until like recently, the last like 4 or 5 years, I started realizing that people are into sports just for the excitement aspect. Like,
Just their heart pumping.
yeah, it gets our heart pumping. When I go to a Jets game opening day of the season, we're all tailgating, energy levels are high, everybody's super amped, the game's going, everyone's super amped, players are doing good, and then they lose and everyone feels miserable at the end. But that's just the Jets. And
You're not wrong.
But I don't realize like people aren't going just to watch the actual game being played. They're going for the feeling that they get from being there, like the atmosphere. And I feel like that's what a lot of New York or just regional shows in general, a lot of them are lacking. Like they always have like get a good DJ. You don't need fucking DJ Joey Schmo who's going to yell things out on the microphone and play the music too loud. And for God's sakes, when the music is too loud, promoters, tell the guy to turn it down.
Or play the right fucking music.
I've
I've had my
big
walkout
too, yeah.
music botched more times than I can count.
I've had my walkout
So
music
3?
is botched. My walkout music is botched over 50% of the time. I don't even think about it anymore. My last fight, I didn't even put out a walkout music.
Well, it's crazy what kind of headlines people like follow on my YouTube channel, Giblets77, and you have JIBLITZ, and then like I have this girl at Grappling Industries. She was beating up a boy, and that thing's got 110,000 hits on it. Yeah, right there, the top video. It's nuts how many like hits these things get. That's Sergio Pettis before he was. That's his last fight before he went to the UFC.
Steve, how did you fuck that up? It was the first video and you played the wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you didn't
You're
play-
still
No,
playing
it's
the
fine.
wrong
But
one.
yeah,
Oh, this one?
Yeah,
Sorry. My bad.
Well, no, now it's 111,000 hits, but it's amazing. Like in the amount of comments people are just throwing down there. Like I would have never thought it would blow up that like that.
Look, isn't this what you want, though? Like, you want the
Yep.
people to get into fights and arguments and say stuff so that other people respond, and doesn't that... It
Yeah,
adds a couple bucks in the pocket at the end?
And this isn't even the whole match either. I caught the tail end because I was watching another fight or a match, whatever you want.
12?
Yeah, it's like the kid division or whatever.
And she's killing the 12-year-old boy.
Annihilating.
And this girl's actually pretty big in the area. She's got her own little YouTube channel and stuff. So I didn't know her name. I had no idea who she
That
was.
kid with the quickness.
That guy's also wearing long pants, so I don't
Well, I
know.
want to watch it again. That was really...
Tail end, but yeah, I didn't know who she was. Never heard of her. Because I'm not like I've never really been big into jiu-jitsu, and I just wanted to go cover this tournament. And then I found like
Oh,
putting
this wasn't
this-
the whole match. I didn't
No.
realize that. Okay.
And when I put it up, I ended up finding her on YouTube and threw her name in there too.
Isabel
It's
Frezzo.
a good triangle.
That's pretty cool. That's good. My daughter, if I have a daughter, she's going to be tough like that. She'll be triangling boys and elbowing them in the eye sockets.
Well, what was that one video? The girl in the park.
Oh, yeah, that one that I had pull up.
She's kicking the shit, and she's kicking the shit out of those kids. They're boys.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Oh,
Yeah, I
dude,
never saw this either.
Steve, YouTube, girl beats boys in jiu-jitsu. It should be like one of the first one. Like, she's like in a park on a field,
Oh, I think I saw this
murking
one.
kids. Yeah, this is it. She just murks these kids.
Oh, so they're having like a little grappling match.
Holy shit.
Do we have volume?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, put the volume on.
For anyone watching that's interested in this video, it's on YouTube under "Girl Destroys Boys with Jiu-Jitsu in Park."
Yeah, and this girl's famous too. This is her name. This is her, Riley Breedlove.
Oh,
She's
gotcha.
got like a big name. And
Look, she has 2,800,000 views. How much money? What do you think you get for 1 million views? What does YouTube pay out for 1 million views?
I don't know, but if you get videos with multiple 2 million
she doesn't have
views, I'm
ads
sure.
on it.
Yeah.
Look at her.
So
She's
zero.
murking these kids.
She don't have
I'm sure
ads.
after a while it adds up, you know, if you have
gotta
multiple
monetize.
videos with that.
I always wondered what YouTube pays.
About $100. Excuse me. It's about a penny.
Look at this triangle. Gangster.
It's about a penny per 10.
A penny per 10?
Yes.
10 million?
No, 10 views.
Oh,
Steve,
10
rewind
views,
this.
okay.
Rewind that.
So it's a tenth of a penny.
Correct.
Watch this triangle transition, dude. This is gangster. What she does to this kid. It is gangster as fuck. Watch. She like inverts and snatches up a gangster ass triangle.
Right.
Watch this.
I like that transition. That was really sweet.
Yeah, she's murks these kids.
You know what's
Pretty
amazing?
impressive.
Like, I bet you none of these kids have ever done any of this before.
No, they
And
just
they've watched it on UFC or something.
Well, no, she's legit.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, you could tell. But, like, when you're doing this against someone who has zero
Go to
clue,
sleep.
it's amazing.
Yeah. These
So-
are just guys who thought they were,
Yeah,
no
I
girl's
could
gonna
beat up a girl,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So by Steve's math, his ratio, it per 100,000 views, you get about $100.
About right.
So that's what a tenth of a cent per view.
Well, it varies. It's
Okay.
going to vary. But
It
that's
does vary?
about- yes.
But that's like an average.
About right.
So I'm gonna see what this video made right now.
Well, it made 0 because there's no ads on it.
Oh really?
So you have to have an ad.
You have to enable monetization.
Why wouldn't
Okay.
they have done that if it had so many views?
I don't know, but maybe it's because
That would have been $2,800,
yeah.
which would be a nice chunk of change
Sure.
to get. If you could put up like one of these a month.
She might have other videos with.
That's what I'm saying. There may be a ton of.
Yeah, scroll down, Steve. Let's
She's
look.
got 2,000 followers.
Oh, she does. Look,
Or
that one's got
1,500.
31,000. Oh, she only has 2
Two
videos.
videos.
Gotcha.
So this one went viral, and you know, look, you're not always prepared for that. Take it from me. I know. Sometimes you just do something and it goes viral.
Yeah, Steve won the internet a few weeks ago. He was like #1 on Reddit.
Yeah?
And,
yeah, it's
the
crazy.
top
What
everything.
was it
Just a
then?
picture of me.
Just a picture of you?
Yeah, there was a whole thing where people were ripping the tiles out of their data centers and standing in it, saying they wanted a standing desk. So I just rolled up to my desk in a wheelchair, and I was like, I want a standing desk.
And everyone.
And it went.
How many views did you have?
I
What are you up to?
I just looked today. 1,975,024.
That's fucking hilarious.
And I was like, we need that extra 25,000. We need to like repost this. Somebody's gonna be like, oh Jesus! But I just need that 25K so I can say it's an even 2 million.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, G-Rock, can you move up a little bit? You're pushing the table.
Oh.
Thank you. But yeah, this is that's interesting. Now, do you with your videos, what do you generally put up? Just the interviews?
Well, I've been.
fights or both.
Well, I recently just did a video of. I went to Militia Fight Academy over there. I did a bunch of interviews with them, filmed them fighting around. And kind of, you ever see like Embedded? I tried to do something similar to that.
Cool, cool.
It was just my version of it, whatnot. It's like 11 minutes. Just
That's really cool, though.
yeah, just tried something different.
just for the people that aren't deep involved. What is Embedded?
Yeah, just kind of like give it like a different view for everyone and whatnot. And I do a lot of interviews. I put up a lot of fights and stuff where some promotions don't want me putting them up because they try to sell it or they sell it through.
They don't want their fighters' names out, so other promotions steal
Yeah,
their
some people will
fighters.
complain about that. But can you take my video down? I don't want anyone seeing it. I'm like, no.
Yeah. too fucking bad. They do. Like, I'm fighting a dude who's only like 1.5 minutes of video on him in all of his fights. Kickboxing fights, MMA fights, everything. And everything's just hidden.
I looked
Yeah.
the other day for your guy and I couldn't find
Hidden,
shit on
hidden.
it.
I have one video from him that's it.
Yeah, so I put up a lot of like videos of. I try to do as many interviews as I can. A lot of it's fights.
Yeah.
So where do you find your ideas? Like, where do you? I don't know that I would have, you know, like the ability to come up with like the questions and like does it get redundant? Like
I feel like, because I personally don't think I'm the greatest at interviewing someone. I find the questions I ask are redundant. They're usually the same thing and whatnot. And a lot of times it's people I've never interviewed before. It's usually easier when you interview someone, you've spoken to them before, you know a little bit more about them,
right,
and you can get into it more. But when you don't know anything about them, especially the amateurs, I got to start with your record, where you're from, your weight class, your gym you fight out of, and then go from there. So I try to ask the basic questions, and some people are awesome. They just keep talking and get into stuff, and it's always awesome when they do that. Otherwise, you got to pull some teeth out of people to get them to talk.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'd have a tough time with that. I was worried about that when we started doing the podcast ourselves. You know, like, oh man, are we gonna have the right things to say and do them? But that's why I like the podcast better, because it's more of it's not an interview, it's a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And a conversation is easier to have than an interview. I feel like
I agree 100%.
Yeah, because an interview gives people butterflies, I guess. They kind of feel like they're on the spot.
Yep.
And and they don't want to open up too much. And I think I would struggle in that kind of a format.
I feel like because I'm not a nosy person by any means, but I feel like you have to be a nosy person if you're interviewing someone and to get information out of them.
Obviously.
You got to ask questions that you don't know, like you're not really, you wouldn't want to ask and stuff like that, but you have to in order to get something out of them. And that's just not my personality to be like, well, tell me about this and stuff like that. I've been trying to work on it, trying to get better at it and stuff. I'm always trying to improve myself writing and interviewing people, but sometimes it gets difficult.
So what do you use to, like, what's your method in picking who you're going to interview? Besides the obvious, like, champs.
Well, some people hit me up, like this guy Mike Biddle up in Wisconsin. He'll hit me up whenever he's got a fighter coming up. A couple of girls just turned pro, and he's like, "Oh, interview them, please." So I'll interview them. That, and then like the promoters will contact me, or I'll see a card jump up, and I'll look on. Like, I'll find people. I'll search them on social media and stuff. People who have a decent following. That's the people who I'll go after, and because then it gets views for my stuff as well, and then I could go from there and then like interview other people who aren't as large or big of name as the person I might have interviewed.
So essentially, what we'll do is after you interview him, we'll just steal him and put him on our podcast.
You'll handle the vetting. You'll handle the vetting for us.
Well, it's funny because I feel like a lot of times MMA fans are a bunch of perverts, because anytime you put a good-looking girl up there, like a good, decent photo, boom, the hits are insane.
Well, I mean,
they see
that's
a chick
not just
with good
MMA.
yeah, it's true.
That's just
you see
everyone.
Sex sells.
Yeah.
I think
there would be Instagram whore accounts
yeah,
that's a career. That's like a career path now. I think that Yale and Harvard are going to offer that as like a major, like Instagram model.
Yeah,
because I think it's
you'll learn how to edit your photos perfectly.
Yeah, you'll learn how to like set up fake real life situations that you film while they occur to you.
It really is an art form.
It definitely is, because those girls, they all look real good, but I'm sure if we saw them in real life,
they're covering up that black guy that got hit with.
I know girls in real life who on Instagram look amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't look like, I saw you yesterday. You don't look that good.
Amazing what a filter could do.
Yeah.
I was there that night. You took that picture.
Yeah,
You didn't look that good.
I know
you were drooling, bitch.
Yeah, like, I know you don't look like that. I've seen you.
Yeah.
That's not you. So yeah, those fake ones. Although the one girl, who's the girl with the butt girl,
Jen Seltzer.
Yes,
Setzer.
Her ass, I bet you in person is fantastic.
I'm sure.
The rest of her maybe not, but that ass looks. You can Photoshop that ass, but
I feel like she's like a next level though. She's not like your typical like. She was like the first Instagram model.
She was the first to like really like take off with it. She was like one of the first people to get to the million.
Would you hear about the chick who's traveling like every country in the world? It just also like blew up, kind of got a little traction recently. She's like trying to get to every country, and she's I guess going to do it within the next couple months. Every country in the world.
No,
she just recently in Iraq. It was in the papers and stuff. After it got a little bit of traction online, but she's like 27, gorgeous girl, blonde hair, she's smoking hot,
And
and
people
then
send her
she
money
gets
or-
sponsors, like companies to sponsor her to travel the world.
Dude, what a time we live in where you can be a hot chick and literally have the world at your fingertips and paid for it. You get, oh, this fucking beautiful girl wants to go travel the whole world. Let's fucking
give her
pay
some
for
money.
her.
Well, she did say she spent handful of countries she went through, she paid for, but she's come up with
Like everybody else.
yeah, exactly.
We had a guy on the podcast 2 months ago. This guy Bobby D'Alessio. He's a world traveler. He's paid for it out of his pocket. No one's funding him.
Because he doesn't have double D.
Yeah,
he doesn't have that
tits aren't
good
hanging
hair.
off, his ass isn't
And
getting off.
she's claimed she's come up with I guess she has a mission and whatnot, and she does something for these
Nobody
companies.
gives a fuck about her mission.
I-
Let's be honest. There's not one person. Everybody's pretending to care about her mission because they're like, oh,
Yeah,
if I
that's
seem
what-
interested in what she likes, maybe I'll get to fuck her.
Well, it helps when you see her in a bikini on the beach. You're like, yeah, that beach looks a lot better now.
So she hasn't gone to Alaska yet?
Oh, I guess she's just hitting up she's been to Iraq, Iran. She's
Listen,
going to
kudos-
Pakistan next year or
Kudos
next week.
to her for
Figuring it out.
for bilking the system
Right.
and at least doing something. If she's got some kind of mission that's actually going to affect and do some change, kudos to her for using her platform to affect some kind of change. But let's be honest, if you don't look good, it ain't happening.
Well, if you don't look
Yeah,
good, no
yeah,
one's going to
well-
look at your pictures or your videos. And if no one looks at your pictures or videos, then Gatorade doesn't give a shit about putting their bottle in your hand.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes up with a bikini that looks good, and like you said, they get 100,000 million fucking hits for just being them, all of a sudden somebody goes on their Facebook page, goes, holy shit, this chick has got 10 million people drooling over her. Jesus Christ, put some Nikes on her fucking feet, right? And start and whatever. Oh, hey, you need to walk around for a little while? Here's $400 because I could spend 40,000 trying to get the fucking amount of views that you get. Just wear my shit and smile. And that's just how it works. I can never do it because the only
because you
reason
can't walk.
anyone, the only reason anyone comes to even see my band is they're like, "Is today the day that the cripple falls?" That's why they're there, and that's cool, and I'm okay with that. But I think that's just generally how it works. If you've already got the views or you have the ability to do that, then just renaming your YouTube videos, you can get a lot more views than you expect.
Really?
You know what I mean?
And just
oh,
reusing
absolutely.
them?
I was just looking at before, not to criticize or anything, but these are the really nice, right? You have Matt Roman pre-fight interview MMA, right? Because that's what it is. But as a YouTube person scrolling through, it shows up on the side. No one's gonna fucking click that. If you'll notice, the ones that you have big hits on, you've named it differently. You have video highlights. Okay, whatever. Somebody clicks on X. That's interesting. This I don't know why, but. Then you have the other one.
No, you know why? Because that's the big.
Because that's the girl. That's right. That's right. But there's another one here where you say so and so defeats. When you tell a story in the title, then
I
people
never
click
thought
it.
of that.
And
It just kind of happened.
I did it.
Take it from the guy that won the internet.
I did
you know
it
what?
as an
Steve's ideas have legs.
Oh God Almighty! I can.
That's something that I'll have to keep in mind for
if
the
you
future.
tell a story in the title, it'll work. I've done it as an experiment where I took the same song that my band did, and I was like, oh, such and such, whatever, and it was okay, and it got 200 views, and then I was such and such, whatever, and then I put end credits to The Hobbit or some shit, just in the title, and it got 4,000 views in 10 minutes. I was like, all right, we're gonna shut this off before I get a letter. But you just write. It's all about the like Eric said, you tell the story, right? You say, all right, because look, where's that other guy's name? I saw it before. You had somebody where you put their nickname up and it was the Butcher or some shit.
Oh, is that the one
Where's
where
this gentleman?
Castro got knocked out?
Yeah, but look, you've got 20 views, 30 views, and then you say, Paul, the neighborhood butcher. Well, fuck it, I'm going to click on that because I want to see this dude axe some dude's head. But if you just write Paul, whatever his name is, Thimoti?
I forget how.
Whatever.
I forget how they
Whatever.
pronounce it. French or something.
Paul T. Yeah, okay, great, Paul T. But you say the butcher of the neighborhood butcher or whatever, then you're going to click it. Or if you say little girl beats the shit out of this, or chicks with huge fucking tits or kicking ass,
That's what we need more of. We need more of them in MMA.
Chicks with huge tits?
Yeah, I
neighborhood
think
butchers.
so. On our YouTube channel.
Funny that I'm not going to say her name, but there was a wardrobe malfunction during one of the KTFO fights.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
and I didn't even realize
Is that one on film?
I actually have the film at home because I filmed the fights and then I watched them while writing stuff. and I didn't even know about it until someone told me. And then I look back, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, there really is wardrobe malfunction.
It's not. I doubt it.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't post it online.
Somebody look for it.
Yeah,
malfunction.
I think wardrobe malfunction is probably like a real famous thing.
It had, ever since the Super Bowl.
Oh
Yeah, true that.
Janet Jackson made that.
God almighty.
Wardrobe malfunction became like a fucking thing.
She's just trying to get herself out there. Got an album coming out.
Right.
I ain't even mad at that, dude. I'm not mad at that.
Me neither. I love Janet Jackson.
But like this guy right here, this is Jordan Griffin. He's a guy from Milwaukee at Rufus Sport, and like I've interviewed him a few times. And then whenever he's got fights coming up, and he has he was the title holder for KTFO King of the Cage for a little bit.
Gotcha.
He actually just recently lost it. But he's always a guy that I see a fight coming up, something big, I always get a hold of him and do an interview with him and stuff. And he's a pretty loyal guy when it comes to getting an interview. Like I interviewed Weidman when he first got into the UFC. And he was fighting Jesse Bongfeld, I think it was. I did an interview with him then. And then he's just been a tough guy to get a hold of. So he's always got something going on.
I've heard that about him, though, from other people, too, that know him real well.
Things are always going on, but you know what? When someone like him, especially in this type of area, gets big like that, I'm sure he's got distant cousins and shit.
Yeah, everyone's coming out of the woodwork.
Looking for some cash. They'll get their hands out. Which I
money.
totally understand, but like after a few, like I'll text him and stuff after some fights, and every now and then I'll get a response like thanks, like great job tonight, congrats, or something like that. You'll get a thanks out of him. He's a great guy and all. He actually played high school football for my uncle at Baldwin. But yeah, he's among a handful of guys I've interviewed that are now big and stuff, and it just becomes hard to get a hold of them when they get that big.
Who else had you interviewed that really blew up like that?
Anthony Pettis I've done.
Before he was big?
Yeah, before he got really big. I've interviewed him. I'm trying to think of who else. That level have held titles and stuff. There's a handful of guys that are just in the UFC and stuff, but those guys are usually the hardest though once they get the belt and stuff. Well, everyone wants to interview. Like all the big.
They get paid for some
outlets.
of those too, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure,
right?
Yeah.
They're paid pieces. I know that they get paid pretty well for doing the magazines and stuff that.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've been writing for how many years now? Did you go to school for broadcasting or?
No, I just went for I started at phys ed and then I switched to communications. Mm-hmm. And then
did you write through college or you took writing courses or?
Yeah, I took some writing courses in college and then I just kind of it started off as like a hobby, just kind of stumbling, looking for just looking on the internet, and I stumbled across uscombatsports.com. His top was like, "Want to be a writer?" I'm like, "Yeah, fuck it." And like it says, you could get paid doing it. So I clicked it, sent in an article about college wrestling, and then they hit me up like immediately, and then that's how I got started. Started going to events out there and stuff.
That's pretty cool. Have you ever thought about doing some stuff with Newsday or any of the local regular papers or?
I never really tried to do any freelance stuff. I probably should hit them up, ask them, but I know they send their characters and whatnot to stuff. I know I've applied for jobs and stuff there, and just maybe get a job there, and it would be cool covering MMA, but they're like, "Oh, you don't qualify," like bastards.
Well, I mean,
that would certainly bring more eyes on the sport in general.
No, I think there needs to be more eyes on the sport first before you can get a job with them. Because right now, I don't think MMA is big enough for Newsday to give a shit. It's not big enough locally on Long Island. If it starts to take off, you'll be more than qualified. You'll be the only one of the only.
They cover Iaquinta, Weidman.
Yeah, they cover the big names.
The big guys who are in the UFC.
What I'm saying is when MMA gets to a larger point where they start giving a shit about the people that are doing it locally, and they decide they want to dedicate a piece of the sports column to it, you would be more than qualified then. Right now, they probably say that you're not qualified because you write for I guess maybe more of a fringe thing. You're not mainstream sports.
We're football people read the weekly column, the daily column for their team.
They're not going to get Sean Powell to cover the MMA like you could.
I can't believe the depths at which people follow football. Like I didn't realize
It's religion.
I know.
Owns a fucking day.
Well, we have a mutual friend whose younger brother has jumped around to a bunch of these different like online websites that just cover like, I'm working for this site that covers college sports.
Mm-hmm.
They send me to every game. I watch every game, and I'm like, how could a website have enough money to send you to all of these games and pay you like a salary to live in New York? And I mean, it's probably not a huge salary, but still, I can't like fathom how many people are into college football. I was at my neighbor's house the other day.
College football.
College
50
football.
Football's huge.
50
Bigger than the NFL.
50-something-year-old lady, and she's like watching. I walk into her house. It was the first time I'd been in. I haven't been there in about a year. She has like an 80 or 90 inch TV, like high def, one of the ones with the curves. So I like walk in. I'm like, holy shit. I call her Georgia because she's from Georgia. I'm like, holy shit, Georgia, you got a movie screen in here. And she's like, it's game day. And I'm like, well, who's playing? I'm like, I'm not really a big football fan, but I'm like, you Giants or Jets fan? Or maybe she's like, who's the Atlanta Falcons? Is that who's in it? And then she's like, no, I don't watch the NFL at all. Just college football. And I think Georgia Tech a big team?
Yeah, Georgia Tech's big.
So Georgia Tech was her team, and they were playing Amherst. Was it?
Yeah.
And it's one of, I guess, or whoever it was, she's like, this is like a real big deal. You don't understand, Derek. And she like sat me down and had to talk to me like as if I like really didn't get it. Like I didn't know. And I'm just I didn't know it was that serious.
They were at the Ohio State and Michigan game, just under 111,000 people.
That's insane because the Garden holds like a fifth of that.
Was it 18, 20 there?
Yeah, something like that.
Well, and it's crazy because the teams like that, like Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, they're putting in probably 110,000 every week at their stadiums. And their revenue is probably, I think it was $157 million for just one team.
The players don't get $1.
Nope.
No. Well, they get free education.
Right.
And those guys don't go without, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's like 200. That's like not even. I mean, at Penn State, that would probably be like 150 grand for 4 years.
Yeah,
and
but
I mean,
they live like I've heard some of their accounts like they don't. No, they're not though. Like
they're gods, but they don't get.
They get laid, but they have no money.
Oh well,
There's no money.
they can't.
Well, a lot of them do get a stipend.
Well,
it's just they don't spend it correctly.
well,
There's also a lot of
crazy.
crazy regulations
Yeah.
for the NCAA that they put out where certain things like it went to the extent of this was UConn 3-4 years ago.
I have a friend that got a car to go to sign with a sign to go
Well,
to
yeah.
a certain
I mean,
college.
that-
He got bought a car and his mom.
Cam Newton got money for going to Auburn.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was shopping. His father shopped him
sure.
around.
Like there
They
are
bought my
certain
friend's
players.
mom a car too.
There,
no,
it
the
happens.
boosters,
Yeah,
there's definitely things that happen, but for the regular people that don't break the rules and don't
Oh,
bend the shit
definitely.
and stuff, like they were interviewing some of these basketball players, and they were talking about how they'd go to class, they train, they'd have practice, they'd play in games and stuff like that, and there were nights when they would go to sleep like starving because the NCAA will allow them to have 3 meals paid for and 2 snacks. But
Yeah, it was
it's
a lot
like
more
crazy.
restricted.
It was crazy. Like a snack, you could have a bagel, but if they put a piece of cheese on the bagel, now it's a meal. So now you lose your meal. Like if you had
They actually
that,
recently just changed that rule.
it just happened.
Yeah,
Like,
they extended it so you get more, so the athletes get more food, so they don't have to pay out of pocket.
It's
This
crazy.
is it's like out of control. It's out of control that they don't pay the guys.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you should get paid as a college athlete.
They should. I think they should.
The amount of revenue that they bring
If they
in.
make it mandatory that you have to go to college and play a couple years in college before you can go professional, you should be fucking paid.
Because if you pay college for like college football players, then you got to pay every athlete in college, and
No,
not every
that's true.
sport.
No.
Anyone that brings
makes
in
that
revenue,
money.
they should get a
The
revenue.
only
they
sport
should
that
get a
does
cut.
is basketball and college football.
They should
Those are the only two sports.
because they drive the revenue for those schools.
yeah,
and the
you
other
want, you
the
want,
swim
you
team.
want a crew scholarship.
But the thing
That's
is, like
because
every
of
year,
football.
in and
Like,
out, those schools are making that kind of money,
Yeah, but
and
they're
they're
only
getting a free
making it-
education.
They're only
And-
making it because of those programs.
and it's not just sports that get the benefits of that. Like
The whole town.
the whole
Oh, yeah.
the whole town.
There's towns that
But-
only exist because
Yep.
of college football.
But I'm
Right.
saying, like, the other avenues of the school, too. Like, the reason that, the engineering department gets, like, fucking
Top of
crazy
line
lot
shit, yeah.
equipment. Like, I mean, I'm a fucking science nerd, but there's not 110,0ing people fucking
Showing
going
for the robotics
Yeah,
team.
for the robotics
I was going crazy for the robotics
oh shit! Did you see that?
No one's
going. Tighten that nut. Like,
no one's showing up to the local nerdy science kid's house and going
robots.
like, "Listen,
I watched that."
but no one's buying the nerdy science kid's mom a car to attend Penn State.
Right.
It's not happening.
It's not.
And no one's fucking throwing panties at that guy at the end of the robotics fair. It's just not happening. So the benefits that trickle down from the revenue that these teams bring in, like, yeah, you know what? Maybe you're a volleyball player at Tennessee. You know, you're a female volleyball player. Should they maybe get a little something? Yeah, maybe. Or they're not bringing in the revenue that the fucking football team's bringing in.
They do get like tons of like clothing and stuff like that. They get sneakers.
Why do you think they get it?
Shirts.
They get it because from the top down. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yep. But I think that, I mean, I don't know, maybe not sharing a percentage of the ticket sales with them, but I remember watching one story on Real Sports, and this dude was working in a bank across the street from the stadium that he played college ball at. It was Ohio, and he had a very bad injury that happened during a game and was out. He was supposed to be in the NFL. He was already fielding offers, and it was like, I don't know, whatever the last year he had to play was. And he said over the course of like the 2 or 3 years he played college ball, they sold 50,000 jerseys with his name on them.
Yeah.
And he didn't get $1. And
well, the college is not supposed to put your name on the jersey. That's part of it. It's supposed to be just a number.
It's not name. It's number.
It was his number.
Okay. Whose number that is. That was the whole argument with Reggie Bush at UFC. You know whose fucking number that is. You know who's on the cover of NCAA football. Like,
see, that's where it gets weird is with like the video games and stuff like that.
Yeah, like how you.
I don't think the school should really pay them. But if they do, like if they're in something else,
anything like that.
Yeah, no, you can't.
No, the NCAA is who should pay them.
Yeah,
that's not the school. I don't think the school is on the line. It's the NCAA because the NCAA profits the most, and then you get like the fucking SEC and how much money they make.
Well, when they go to bowl games, you know, all their sponsors for the bowl games, all those athletes get something from the sponsors.
Yeah, but it pales in comparison.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It isn't like they're getting paid.
Well, they get like TVs and like headphones.
Fuck that! I don't want shit. I want
$1,000
a week. If I'm going to be an athlete and train on a professional level,
but you do know that when you sign up for it.
Yeah, well, no, but it's not even that. Like, say you're a really great football player, and you know what? You could go right into the NFL, or you're really good at basketball. You go right into the NBA. Then you have these fucking ass clowns that are 90 that want to profit off of you for free. Are like, no, you got to play 2 years before you're eligible for the NBA.
But you used to be able to do that. Now it's mandatory 1 year college before the NBA.
You know what? One year, it's like, fuck you. Give me a year of your life, and then I'll give you a year of my life.
You know, that's not the worst thing, because a lot of these guys end up broke because of that.
See, like the NBA is one thing. Like the NFL, I think the mandatory time to go to college is 100%
physical disparity.
Yes. Yeah, because you can't.
The NBA is bullshit, though.
The NBA is bullshit. The
NBA is just the NCAA going. Defense. We're losing fucking revenue.
Right.
That's all that it was.
That's exactly what it was.
The NFL, I agree, because there's a physical maturity that has to
There's
happen.
no 18-year-old kid that's coming out of high school that can step in there and fucking get hit by Ray Lewis without fucking dying.
I agree with you on that.
He's dead.
The weightlifting programs are nuts. You go from high school to college, huge jump, and then you go to college to like pro. Even depending if it's like Division 1, 2, or 3.
Exactly.
It's going to be even bigger jump.
Yeah, that I agree with. And you're 100% right with that. But the NCAA making a rule for college basketball that if you're coming out of high school, you cannot go. You can't. They fucking made college a mandatory farm system for the NBA.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Well, that's what NCAA football
is.
Right.
So, but any other system like that, you're getting paid. If you're in the farm system of the MLB, you're getting paid. You're professional.
But that is considered pro bowl, though.
Yeah, but so how can these kids be forced into essentially the farm system for the NBA, forced into it, and not be allowed to make a dime in their tenure when the NCAA and their schools make tons of money off them, off promoting them.
Off your likeness.
Well, you know, they are technically kind of getting paid by getting education. Because once you get your scholarship, they can't take it away.
They're one and done. They're not. Those kids are not there.
Well, that's the thing. They tell you once you leave, you lose all that.
Right. Yeah, but
the problem is.
But let's be honest. Like, you know, that's not what they're going there for. That's what I mean. Like,
they're going there because they have to.
They're going there because they have to. They're going there because this is the farm system. You can't do it any other way.
That's true.
Or that's why what's his name went
to
slavery. Fucking Europe. It's exactly what it is. What's his name went to Europe to play instead?
A South Park episode?
Who's the guy that went to Europe to play instead of going into the into college.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
He went and played a year overseas instead.
Yeah,
he was like, "Fuck this! If I can't be eligible and I have to play college ball before I'm eligible," or he's like, "I'm going overseas and I'm going to play overseas for a year and get paid, and then I'll be
It was
eligible."
like Rudy something or
I
Randolph
don't
or
remember.
something like that.
Steve, fucking
I'm looking.
No, you're not.
What is it?
no, just Google NBA player who played overseas instead of playing college ball to be eligible or whatever. You know, like because and this is what he did.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. That's going to be
No,
too
there's
many.
too many. You have to be specific. NBA player who skipped college to play overseas.
High school player who skipped college to go overseas.
Yeah, and he was smart. He went overseas, played for a year, got paid, and then was eligible.
Well, the
for
thing
the
is, you know, so many kids that do that doesn't
Brandon
work out.
Jennings, that's it.
Oh, it was Jennings.
Yeah,
alright.
click on it. I want to see what it reads because I'm pretty sure his reasoning was, he didn't want to go to. Yeah, in August 2006, he chose to attend USC. On April 27. Wait, what?
No.
Yeah, it says instead he decided to join the Arizona Wildcats.
Citing.
Oh, all right, never mind.
Oh, yeah, this is not. This isn't it.
This is not him.
Yeah, no. In 2008, Jennings announced that he was considering becoming the first American to skip college to play professionally in the EuroLeague.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
so he was signing on to play beforehand.
The National Basketball Association requires players to be at
1 year
least 19 years old and 1 year removed from high school before entering the league, meaning that Jennings could not enter the 2008 NBA draft. Jennings declared that his goal is to play in the NBA and that playing overseas instead of an American college could be his best route to gain his experience and make money.
Yeah, where football you have to be 20
Yeah.
and 2 years removed from high school.
So he was one of the
To be in
guys
the
who
NFL.
smartly circumvented the fucking slavery system that is the NCAA,
Yep.
for lack of a better word. Now that it's slavery. Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the kids
Oh,
don't benefit either, but when you look at the amount of money that these other people profit,
Oh,
from,
it's absurd the amount of money that's going through college programs.
Yeah, like they get. What was it? I saw a breakdown. Like, if a team makes like the fucking one of the bowl games, they're guaranteed like the school's guaranteed $5 million just for making the bowl.
Well, the thing is, like, so say you go to the ball game and then you get into the ball game and you win it, you win like the prize. It's like $27 million. Now they break even. They don't even make any money off that because they pay for not only the whole team but the band, the cheerleaders, and like the hotel. They pay for everything, and then the teams break even. The schools. So like you're really not getting any money out of the game, but in the end you kind of. It's hard to explain, but like.
How do they only break even? You telling me it cost them $27 million to send a?
Yeah, because they bring the amount of things they bring. Because they're there for a week. They pay for everyone and everything.
They're probably bringing 500 people there.
Yeah, easily. Plus 3 meals a day. Plus hotel for every evening. There was a big article on it. I remember talking about this actually on the radio show I did in college, and we had a big discussion about it.
Interesting.
And
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
they break even on like ball games.
I didn't know that.
Very few teams that might make like maybe $1 million in profit if they do, if they don't lose money.
So where does the big money come from making those games?
Fucking TV.
TV
networks.
revenue is
And that's actually what's the UFC now. We were talking about similar last night, and I didn't even get to mention it, but like UFC is now looking to do a new contract with the Fox, and they're going to use some other channels to bid because the contract right now is like $190 million, but they're asking now for like $400 million,
Well-
trying to extend it and get more money out of them.
I think Rogan was just talking about this recently, where that they're probably not gonna re-sign with Fox. They're going
Which
to.
Fox should be kind of dumb because UFC is their number one, what brings in the most
Yeah.
viewerships
I mean,
on FS1.
Yeah, I was gonna say who else? Just FS1.
Like, I watched that for college
They're using that
football, right?
leverage. They're using that leverage. I bet Fox.
ESPN's the real bidder on it now.
Oh yeah.
They want.
What's funny is I
dibs
remember
on it.
in the 90s, the early 2000s, ESPN would like scoff at it if it was even brought
It's
up.
ESPN like hockey too. They
Yeah,
barely cover
they-
hockey.
Well, they
Find hockey in
had
Sports
a-
Center. It's very
they had a
rare.
big falling out with the NHL.
And the NHL should have. ESPN's a bunch of clowns.
Yeah.
I don't watch ESPN anymore because it's full of idiots. That's my personal belief, but
What's your gripe with ESPN?
I just it's always like the same shit over and over. They always have basketball highlights. How many times can you see a fucking dunk? Like, you know what I mean? The same idiot.
I feel that way
dunking.
about baseball, though.
Yeah, baseball too. They have baseball highlights and whatnot. If I really want to watch a highlight, I'll go do it. But like, they need to change things up a little. It's the same stuff over and over.
What are we looking at here?
So I have up a college athletics revenue and expenses. So, for example, Crimson Tide, it breaks it down into different sections. So you have tickets, 28 million in tickets. Students, 0. Away games, 5,500. Donations, 29 million. Universities, 4 million. Media rights, 8 million. Branding is another 4 million.
So it's total revenue 123 million.
Oh, well, 123,769,000.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because if you look at their expenses, the total expenses are 123,370,000.
That seems
after you take away the visitors, the coaches' pay, the tuitions, the team travel, et cetera, the marketing. They spent almost $3.5 million on marketing alone. The team travels $3.5 million, like you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They put $1 million into recruiting,
which is insane. What's the point though of having a team then if you're just breaking even with that? Is that to draw more students to the school in general that pay for their tuition?
Well, that was just 2008. It could have been better. Like look at the Longhorns, for example. Got 110,000 in expenses, but
you
they
think
brought
about
in 120 million. Excuse me,
yeah.
But they brought in 100 so they ended up with 10.
I bet you all top 10 of these schools are schools that have an enrollment of 40,000 plus students.
Oh,
plus, you think all their tuition is probably at least 35 and up. Most of them probably 45 and up.
But Michigan, 13 million in tuition alone.
So when you look at this though, that tuition cost, I mean, they're just putting an extra chair in the room. That's not really a realistic cost because they're not counting that guy as like a seat that they're giving up, most likely. But still, if I was a program, I would try to keep that total profit number as low as possible. Just because if you start showing, and I'm sure that they have stuff hidden in here. Like there's a lot of different ways to like hide money.
This is a very high level chart, Eric. We're not diving into the analytics. Sorry.
No, but
my apologies to your penis.
But.
Well, especially because
you wouldn't want to show. I bet these schools. If you really nitpick this and you looked, I bet that these schools are profiting in the tens of millions of dollars, if not more. I bet 50 million of their expenses doesn't exist, or it's them paying themselves.
Well, are you talking about like the team or the actual school itself? Because then you're talking about paying teachers.
The team, the school utilizing the team as a subsidiary. I bet that they're hiding massive quantities of money somewhere in the school by paying themselves like that advertise. Look at their bills. Look at their bills. Marketing. Where I bet $1 million plus of the marketing is getting them taking out ads in their own papers.
Probably.
And doing stuff like
Can you
that.
scroll for a second? I don't think this isn't just no. Just scroll up.
Yeah,
so
this might not just be.
This is athletics in general.
This is what we're talking about. So the reason that they're breaking even is because none of these other sports make
that's
money.
the biggest thing.
I thought this was just football.
No.
Football pays for football and basketball pays for everything.
All the other stuff. They have scholar athletes in rowing, track and field, baseball, softball, lacrosse, tennis, volleyball.
Yeah, nobody goes to watch.
When you talk about people like, I went to, especially on Long Island, lacrosse is so big on Long Island.
Huge.
Everyone's like, I went away for a full ride. It's like, no, you didn't. There's no school paying a full ride for college. If they give you $5,000, you're getting a lot.
Lacrosse is huge. You could get.
There's not much money in it. There's like zero money. They give you $5,000.
No, they'll give you a full ride. Yeah. They'll give you a full ride.
But they'll give you $5,000, and that goes towards. And then maybe the next year they'll give you like $10,000. They don't give you all like college football. If you get a full ride, you get a full ride. They give you partials in lacrosse. It's and then you think of Ivy League schools where lacrosse is big. There's no scholarships in an Ivy League school.
I've heard that, but that's not true.
That's not
but
true.
they give you in other ways, like academic.
They find ways.
But most of those kids that are playing in the Ivy League schools, they deserve academic scholarships.
Mm-hmm. A kid I graduated high school with went to Cornell and broke every record at Cornell for scoring in lacrosse, and I'm almost positive he got a full ride. His name is Chris Carroll.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris was probably the best.
My old man,
for the Lizards. He was probably the best lacrosse player to come out of Long Island, and now he does something in like finance or whatever. But he was a stud, and I'm almost positive he got a full fucking ride to come out.
Well, this past year I coached football at Chaminade High School, and they produce some lacrosse athletes left and right. It's they're probably ranked 1 and 2 in the nation every year, and half those kids aren't, more than half, none of them are getting a full ride for football. Well, look at the kid from Sable, the football player, the quarterback. He was committed with Notre Dame. Instead of taking $5,000 with Notre Dame, now he's got a full ride up in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
he's going there to play there, and he's going to play football instead. Bigger stage, bit more money.
Oh, he got a Notre Dame for what? Baseball?
Lacrosse.
Oh, lacrosse.
Yeah, he was going to go to Notre Dame for lacrosse, and then Wisconsin offered him a ride. Although he was being looked at by everywhere in the nation. Kid broke every New York State football quarterback record there is, except for rushing. But
well, that was my point earlier. Is what I meant is that why shouldn't these guys get paid? Because the only reason why the lacrosse team has the facilities that they have at Notre Dame is because of the fucking football team. You know, and the only reason why the Notre Dame fucking crew team or swim team has anything they have.
So
one of my real personal beliefs with college is like I love the fact that how pure it is the fact not that it's well, like in the sense of like the players aren't being paid. So you know if they're missing a game, it's because they're actually hurt. These guys aren't like wanting a break or some bullshit where they're still going to get paid like in the pros if you're on the bench. College, if you're not playing, you're not being recognized for the pros.
I understand that in terms of competition.
I just think it's better football.
In terms of what they're playing for, because they have something to play for. If you're a guy, maybe you're not the top, you're not in the Heisman mentioning, but you need to perform so you get drafted in the first round. Yeah, the motivation is higher to play harder and win, and you have like these rivalries with Ohio State and fucking Michigan. Like these rivalries drive deep and cover years, so there's a lot of pride to play for. I get that point, but I mean, everybody else is fucking getting paid except them.
And the thing is, they're like talking about limiting the sandwiches, and when you're like performing in front of 100,000 people every Sunday,
it's a good thing that they did change that because that was
you don't have enough food, or you don't have a car because you can't go home and see your family on the weekends or during the holidays, or like it behooves me that anyone would be subjected to that type of like borderline slavery. It's definitely indentured servitude.
The rules that they have to follow are insane. Some of the things I heard, like I remember one of the kids.
He's pretty strict.
The story was like. And he didn't even think about it. He was a young kid, an 18-year-old kid. He's playing fucking college ball, and some guy wants to buy him a dinner, and he's like,
"You can't accept like any sort of gift.
You can't. That's a gift. Somebody wants, hey man, let me take you out for dinner. Sorry man, I can't."
Well, you know what? It's good in a way because it protects the athletes. Because you get a lot of these guys who are in gambling, who are in all sorts of things where money is involved. Then it starts putting pressure on the kid to do something that he wouldn't want to do.
If you didn't need to worry about dinner, then you wouldn't be tempted to take dinner from some guy that doesn't know you.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they have changed that.
Like it almost like doesn't make sense. It almost seems like they should be throwing these guys. If you're on the football team and you're somebody that plays every week, if you're a starter, maybe you should get thrown $1,000 a week just so that you can cover your expenses, send some money home to your parents. Because a lot of these guys are underprivileged. They come from bad backgrounds and they could use it. Yeah. And I mean, what would it cost them to throw? How many people are on a college football team?
It's about 80 something. Oh, there's 80 scholarships total. So then there's probably more than 80. There's probably about like
probably 200 once you start getting.
Oh yeah, when you got like the guys that aren't playing.
200 people that play football.
No.
Well, because you guys have
the active roster is not.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the practice squad and the active roster.
Yeah, you're talking about all that. They're not getting any scholarships.
I'm talking about the guys that would be getting paid
that travel to every game.
Yeah, the guys that go to every game.
It's about probably like 90 guys on the team.
90 guys.
There's 80 scholarships total.
So if you give those guys, like the big guys, $1,000 a week, the other guys $500 a week, just to like stipend them, just as a stipend.
That's actually a thing.
Even $500 a week would probably.
The only school that actually gives a stipend of like $8,000 is the Annapolis and West Point.
Really? And so Annapolis, so $8,000. If you spread $8,000 out,
you get a semester out of that.
You're not paying taxes.
Well, that's a semester, I believe.
That's a semester.
Think about
so
this.
So what's a semester is 3 months.
Yeah.
So 3 months
they
is
can
12
do that
weeks.
Easily.
So if they're getting $8,000,
they're getting about
divided by 12 weeks. That's $666.
Every 2 weeks.
Every week.
Okay, every week.
Yeah, so it's $650 every week, and that's I think that's a fair amount of money if you're like a college kid.
I think that's plenty as a college kid.
I think it's plenty.
So they don't pay for housing or anything like this, especially when you're on scholarship. You're not paying for housing or anything like that.
But you got enough money to pay. You can eat the correct food
not
that
gonna
you
eat
should
ramen.
eat. Yeah, you're not eating ramen or going to the cafeteria. I remember going to the cafeteria at Stony Brook or going to the cafeteria in other schools. I'm sure things have changed now, but there weren't great choices in 2001.
Well, I remember I had an ex that went to Rutgers, and I went to visit her the one
it's
time.
legit now.
And she swipes her little meal card once, and then once for me, and it was like a giant fucking buffet, and it was like all you can eat. And just like constantly, where I went to school, the enrollment was much smaller, and you had to like point out everything you were eating. It was points. Everything cost something, where it wasn't just swipe once and you just eat whatever you want.
But how are they limiting these 300-pound like superhumans
They
to
figure
3
it out,
meals
sure.
today though? That's like what I'm getting at. You get 3 meals a day and 2 snacks, and it can't have a piece of cheese. Like even if they change the rules, I'm like, there's 100,000 people coming out to see these young men this weekend. Feed the fucking guy enough food so that he's not fucking hungry.
Yeah.
That's my point.
I can't even fathom that.
Can you imagine imagine this, if say I was one of those guys, I was a 300-pound guy, I'm on scholarship, we're playing at Ohio State University, and you're my best friend, and you come to town to watch a game because you want to support me and you want to take me out for dinner afterwards, I fucking can't go with you.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if it's
I'm
like
sure
that.
It's not.
It's if somebody from an opposing or a recruiter comes
like a
by and
booster
says,
type person.
Hey,
like
hop in
your
the
friend
car.
can take you out to somebody.
Right.
somebody
No, but
that
I
you
mean,
know.
to
things
dinner
like
in the
that where they
strip
said,
club,
like,
we'll
no,
talk.
because what if Eric wants to tell me to, hey man,
I'm sure it's not that strict, but
I've heard stories about that.
Well, I'm sure there's some cunty idiots that fucking throw things out there for everyone to hear. But if I took you out to lunch, you wouldn't go around broadcasting it to everyone.
We're like the guys in Ohio State when they got in trouble for getting the free tattoos or whatever.
I'd be like,
because
suck
they
my
signed
dick.
stuff for that guy, or that guy
Yeah,
could turn
sure.
around and so they don't want you like giving something like so you get something in return for handing them something that they could turn around and sell.
Yeah, but what is a college football player's signature worth?
At Ohio
$10?
State.
You're a Heisman Trophy winner that goes to the
Ohio
NFL.
State, dude, they had, like Chris just said, last week for their game against Michigan State, which was a rivalry game, there was just under 111,000.
It doesn't matter though. You could buy a Wayne Gretzky autograph for like $20.
Like, to put that into
you can't.
perspective,
You can too. Go on, see how much a Wayne Gretzky autograph is on like some generic, like a picture.
Even still, though, even if it's only
You're a little off.
$3,000.
I
depends on
have
what it
one.
is.
I have one.
Here's a card.
Well, you know the thing about that
it's not
though.
$20, it's $240.
All right, I have one at my house. I have 2 at my house, so I have $500 worth of Wayne Gretzky.
Well, the thing
autograph.
is, it's like that stuff's only as valuable as someone's willing to pay.
for it.
Yeah.
Right.
But even say you
If
say
you're
it's
in
only
Columbus,
$20.
Ohio,
Yeah.
fucking someone's gonna pay.
Say you're right there.
Right.
Say it is only $20, but I signed 400 fucking things for you. It's
Guess what? You know what? If somebody's like, you can't sign your name on something because you signed the NCAA account, I'd be like, suck my dick. See you in a year in the NFL. Go fuck yourself.
What the hell's his name?
And I'd probably beat them up too, just for the sheer fact that somebody was like, "Yo, listen, I don't have enough money for a tattoo," and this guy said if I sign 2 pictures of myself for him, he'd give me a tattoo. Like,
And they
it's
probably would
sad,
get away with that
but
if the
it's-
idiot didn't say it. Because he probably put it on social
Yeah,
media
but you know what?
and
It's
all that.
sad. It's sad that it's to that point where the guys are like having to trade their signatures for things,
Yes.
and 100,000 people are going to see them. It's sad.
I've heard this that Salvador Dali used to sign. He used to pay for his food by check, and no one would cash the check because his signature on a check was worth more than the meal, and he knew that because he was poor as fuck. So he would just like doodle on a fucking check, and then people would just be like, "Holy shit, Salvador Dali signed us," and he was like, "See you tomorrow." Like, he just
Might as well just sign a bunch of napkins and start handing those out.
Brilliant.
Well, that's when you've made it, I guess, in a way.
And unfortunately, like look at UFC. These guys make zero money. They make like so NFL guys and most pro sports they make about 50% of what the owners make, and UFC they make 8% or less.
I know. I sort of have an idea as to why that is, and I think it's the Fertitas before leaving. We're sort of just for the last several years packaging the business up to be sold, and profit sharing isn't something that investors are going to want to see if they're looking to buy or your
Well,
event.
they are a privately owned company.
And that's the other thing. If they start a profit sharing agreement, then people are going to be able to figure out what's earned overall. And realistically, right now, the only statistic they have is when one of them slipped up and said, "Oh, I think we're set to take in around 600 million next year," and that's not even like a direct quote. That's like I'm pretty sure that somebody overheard them say that. So nobody really knows what the UFC brings in per year. It could be $1 billion. Nobody has really any idea.
Well, if you're, I mean, their evaluation of what they sold for was $4 billion.
$4 billion.
I mean, you got to assume they're.
And only a few years ago, they were like $500 million.
Yeah. I remember when they were at $1 billion, and they took $100 million from the Saudi, or not the Saudi, the guy from
Yeah,
Abu Dhabi.
they own like 37% or something like
10.
that.
It was 10.
It was 10%.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was 10. And then we didn't know until the end. Joe Silva actually owned 1% too.
$4 billion.
$4 billion. If you can sell a company for $4 billion, what your net?
Look at Dana White. He owned, what was it, 3%? And he's getting like
initially
$300 million, something like that.
It's hard. You know what I do?
Well, yeah, was it 3 and then he gave 2?
I think he had to give 2 up in the
He
2 up
had
at
to
some
give like
point.
a point or something. Yeah.
But I find it very, very interesting just moving forward to see what's going to happen, because they just announced, like we were speaking about yesterday, the Fighters Association.
And like that rival group of the WME is backing it.
Oh, really?
It's like CCG or something. I just read.
Yeah, that's like the yeah, exactly like you said. So the company that just bought the UFC is, I guess, like an
it's an entertainment group.
Yeah.
So like a rival entertainment group is the one backing it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you know that's what a sport like this needs, though. Needs a little competition to
Raise the bar for everyone.
help the athletes.
You know, as shitty as some of the pro sport unions have become, like, they're still necessary.
Oh, definitely.
You know, the players' associations and shit like that. But MMA has nothing like that until now. You know, where they're going to start to kind of fight for the fighters, like.
And that's what they really need. Just from my own personal experiences with my friends in the UFC, like we were talking about Ally Quinta, couldn't get them to pay for a surgery for 4 months. He had to go public and basically shame them into paying for the surgery. And then he came back and they got mad at him because he wouldn't take a fight or he wouldn't go to something, and then they like shelved him for a while.
Yeah.
And they're over a disagreement. But I've had friends that need PT, and I'm not going to drop any names of my friends, but I will tell you a story. I went out to Las Vegas to train about 7 years ago or 8 years ago, and I was in the gym and I'm hanging out with Martin Campman, and we were training a little bit. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go do a private now." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," because I know they get paid very well to do privates. He's like, "No, this is a barter one." Martin Campman, who was ranked I think number 5 or 6 in the UFC at that point, was bartering for PT for his ACL rehab. So he's doing So he's bartering. Dude's in the UFC, highest level in the game, 7th best fighter in the world at his weight, or 6th or 5th, whatever he was. And this is a dude that has to barter for his PT from the physical therapy to rehab an injury that occurred in a fight.
Yeah.
And that's just, I know that doesn't happen much, but I know they still have to fight to get things, and they're not getting taken care of.
Some of these guys, their purses are $2,500 for a fight, and if they win, they get maybe another $2,500 or $1,000. So you're walking away with $5,000, and you just fought on FS1.
You're not even walking away with that.
Yeah, and then you got to pay
taxes
everyone.
and your coaches and all that. You're not. What are you walking away with?
Probably like $2,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And when you go to an event,
if you win.
If you win. Even if you win, if you take damage, what's that really worth?
Well, although I did hear that, I don't know if they changed or whatnot, but the UFC was paying full medical benefits.
They are now, but it's still a fight. Like, it's an argument.
While you're in, like, fight camp and whatnot?
But not even that. Like, when you need PT or something like that, or something that they're saying is, oh, that's elective. You don't need that. At that point, you have to argue back and forth with their insurance company, and they drag the thing out for months. And at that point, you've been paying for it out of pocket for yourself, trying to get reimbursed. And eventually, you're just like, oh, this isn't worth it. I'm better now, and I'm going to fight again. And it's sort of like they just hope you forget about it.
Insurance companies, the real devil of this world.
Oh my god, it's them and the fucking banks.
You know what's funny? One of my cousins, their uncle, pretty sure he like owns like an insurance company that insures insurance companies.
Mm-hmm. That's a thing. Yep.
That's a thing?
Yep.
It's amazing.
Right? Yeah, like I didn't even never heard of that.
Zurich does that. They underwrite insurance policies for insurance policy companies. So they'll just like make sure that, like, say you're a flood insurance company and you do flood insurance, and then you have Hurricane Katrina and there's like 40,000 homes that get buried.
A lot of money.
Yeah, you might not be able to afford to make that kind of payout, even though technically you should, but never at any point in history, unless there's a catastrophe, are 40,000 homes going to get flooded in the same 2-week period. And so the insurance companies that insure insurance companies, I'm sure for huge
right after
sums of
9/11.
money.
Insurance went up a little bit because they were paying out for all like the damages, like cars and everything else, and people's life insurance and stuff like that. Is that the dog?
Sorry, our podcast dog is wanting to come hang out with us. So what do you have coming up next, Kyle? I know that I'm fighting on the Worlds Collide card. I know you'll be covering that.
Yeah, that's the big event coming up for me right now. I'm looking forward to it. I'm lining up some more interviews and stuff. There's 7 title fights, I believe, so I'm trying to get as many people on to interview them as I can. I'll interview the owners of ACC and KTFO, do that, and then start gearing up just for the event. I'm going to go to the weigh-ins, check that out, get some photos, and then go from there. And then I'm probably going to try and go to some Hofstra wrestling, dual meets and stuff. Try to cover some of that. I like covering wrestling.
Wrestling season now, right?
Yeah, wrestling started about mid-October, around there. So
who are the big names out of Hofstra right now? Or do they have anyone that's real great this year?
They're struggling. I know they just got beat up by Cornell. They just lost 39-0. So they didn't even win a match in the dual meet out of 10 matches. So I think they're kind of in like a rebuild year.
Gotcha. Who's the head coach over there now?
Greek guy. Well, he's not from Greek, but he's got a Greek name. He's like Demetrius. Starts with a P. I forget.
Did their old coach go to like Iowa or something?
Yeah, Tom Ryan. Yeah, he went to Ohio State.
That's it.
He's actually a Wantor guy. He's from Long Island. Wrestled at Iowa.
Yeah.
Took second in the nationals when he was wrestling in college, and then was a long-time coach out here at Hofstra, and then got offered the Ohio State job. Went out there, and I actually was at his camp when I was going into sophomore year and whatnot. And then I saw him in 2013 when I went to the Nationals, the NCAA championships, and I was like, I went to your camp at Hofstra and all, and he got a photo with him and all. It was pretty cool. He's like it's nice living off Long Island.
Go back up. Keep going. Coaching staff.
Do you cover high school wrestling at all?
I try to. High school wrestling is just a little tough to always get to. Yeah, there's just so much going on. I try to cover that. I like covering like the states and stuff like that.
Papadopoulos.
Yeah.
Dennis Papadopoulos, head coach.
Is it Dennis? I don't know why I was thinking Demetrius.
And
then Mike Patrovich. He was a high school teammate of mine.
Yeah, no, I know his brother. His brother used to be my wrestling coach.
Yeah, Ryan's a few years younger than myself.
Ryan's a tough dude, man. Super tough.
Yeah, I know he was an All-American out of Hofstra.
Yeah,
I know he was fighting. I don't know if he's fighting anymore though.
I think he's moved on to coaching. His father runs the program that started, I think, last year.
CW Post.
CW Post.
Yeah, he was my high school coach. That's when I wrestled with them.
So they're building a program
coach
there now, right? That's like
and then their old man had a stroke, unfortunately.
Oh, is he doing all right now?
Yeah, he's much better now. He's kind of getting things back, and I haven't seen him in a while, but
that's got to be pretty cool to have a family like you're the coach of a real big college, and then your son's the coach of a real big D1 school. I know Ryan's helping out, I'm sure, at CW Post, and he was running wrestling programs and clinics for kids and stuff.
Yeah, I know they had like a wrestling academy that they were running. And you ever hear like the Askren Wrestling Academy? They had something similar to that where they had like Mike and Ryan, they were running a wrestling. I think they still do, actually.
I think it's somewhere out east, maybe in Manorville, if I'm not mistaken.
Because I know Michael was coaching out at East Hampton, Southport Manor, or something like that for a while.
Oh yeah, Eastport, South Manor.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah,
whatever.
You don't get the SWR with that.
It's no SWR.
EPSM.
Right. So it's pretty cool.
All right. So what? I guess the next big thing to look out for you is for the December 16th, and
Yeah, definitely that. I'll be putting up some more videos and a couple more podcasts. Some articles are going to go up. I'm probably going to put up another article tonight.
You got some articles and like shout out your Instagrams, your website, all
Yeah,
that stuff.
Instagram, My MMA News. My personal one I have private. I really don't do a whole lot of MMA stuff on that.
Gotcha.
And then my Twitter account is Giblitz77, which is JIBLITZ 77. So you can find me on there. And then I think that's about it for social media. And then Facebook is My MMA News as well.
Right.
So yeah, definitely check out that stuff if anyone's interested in going there. I like Twitter's interesting. You can find a lot of stuff on Twitter.
I'm not crazy about Twitter.
No, like you get a lot of videos on there, a lot of like live update scores and stuff like that.
That's what I hear. It's good for
Like
keeping
you
up.
could probably
to date.
watch. I think the football game you could watch live right now.
It's
Yeah, it's on.
the NFL game.
I think that's pretty cool that they're doing that this
watch.
year.
You can watch.
Yeah, it's live on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you just have your
Just
phone,
starting
you
this
can put it
year,
on.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's only for this year, though.
Interesting.
I think that somebody's saying that Twitter was like the most used site in the world now. Is that a statistic or no,
I
Steve?
can look it up right now, but I'm telling you no.
Okay.
Well, like social
I'm pretty
media
sure
wise, you
Facebook
talking about?
is.
Social media wise, no.
I'm pretty sure Facebook is.
Oh, I'm just looking up Alexa rankings, but
We
What is
don't.
it, Alexa
What,
right?
yeah,
It's
come
like
on,
the
Steve.
top-
Come on, Steve.
these are the top sites on the internet, the most visited sites on the internet.
Pornhub.
And so, yeah, basically.
Oh, I'm sure that crap's up
Yeah,
there.
do we have a real list?
Yes,
we had to
yes.
look up one day. I don't remember what the discussion was, but somehow we were seeing like which countries Google the most
Watch the
weird
most porn.
weird porn, like animals and
Oh,
old ladies.
okay, now
and
we-
it was all
It was the Middle Eastern
it
countries.
was all the Middle Eastern.
Oh, I
countries.
believe it. Yeah, probably fucking goats and shit.
Yeah, and it's true. It's got to be true. And it was like, and they were at such a higher percentage over like second place, which was I think Asia.
Oh,
But
dude.
they were like double Asia,
Yeah,
triple
it was like
Asia.
triple or quadruple. Like, it was
You ever
fucking
see
crazy.
what's it called? Whiskey Tango Foxtrot?
No.
With she's like
I
a
know,
reporter,
yeah,
Tina Fey.
Tina Fey, yeah.
It's the one guy, reporter or whatever. She's like, "Goddamn, will you stop watching goat porn or whatever?" It's like some guy fucking a goat or something like that.
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
thing.
so I've got a list of the most popular websites on the planet, as well as
Google,
oh yeah, Google's number one.
YouTube, Facebook.
Baidu, which is the
That's
Chinese Google.
Okay, that's Chinese
it's
Google.
a Chinese search engine. Yeah,
So Twitter's 10.
People still go to Yahoo. Why?
news and
Yahoo's
sports.
really
Believe
What-
it or
What,
not.
sports and fantasy sports.
Yeah.
Oh, fantasy
Fantasy
sports.
Fantasy sports. It's probably what's keeping Yahoo afloat.
Yeah.
Honestly,
They've
like,
That and they own a lot of Baidu.
Oh, really?
Yes, they do.
Oh, really?
Yes, they do.
well,
Absolutely.
wasn't there just something in the news like they were trying to Yahoo was trying to sell?
Yeah, I think they're looking at selling it one day.
They're selling pieces of their business.
Well, they just got in a lot of trouble because they had their CEO is a woman, and she went through and gutted the
obviously they're in
business and
trouble.
fired. Yeah, she fired every man that worked in any type of administration position
Wow, really?
under her. Yeah, it's like a real big deal right now. So she resigned. I'm sure they're going to be a whole host of lawsuits. It's
Oh,
probably
definitely.
probably a good time to pick their
Bankrupt the
stock up.
company.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to pick their stock up.
Oh.
But
Well, when you guys go onto like a website like My MMA News, what is it that like you look for? Because I'm always curious to what people look
this
for.
Is a good question.
Because I want to put on what people look for. You know what I mean? Like I want to. Like, I know results is a
chicks.
big one. Hot chicks clearly is
I
a
can
big
tell
one.
you what catches my eye more than anything else by a multiple of probably 100, and it's grainy footage of fist fights.
That's not what you're looking for on an MMA site, though. That's
But
just what you're looking for is the
if you
internet.
incorporate a World Star element, World Star element. I've never watched a video on World Star that didn't have to do with two people trying to punch each other or hit each other with hammers or
But
something.
that's not
Two
MMA
300-pound
It
women
is too, it's fighting.
smacking each other.
Well, when you guys are sitting in the gym and stuff, when you're stretching at the end of practice, like do you guys talk about like rankings and stuff like that with
We
your
do.
teammates?
I do a little bit.
I don't remember ever talking about rankings. I talk about fights.
You know what?
and-
I hang out with a lot of guys in the UFC, so it's very big with them.
So I know kids on like when I used to coach high school wrestling, the kids love the rankings. I'm like, stay off the rankings. Who cares about that crap?
Oh, like with themselves.
Yeah, they're always looking at who's ranked where and whatnot.
Nobody does a good job of rankings, or as far as amateurs go. Like,
that's one thing I've actually been working on. I've been trying to build. Like, it's so hard though to like
keep track of all the
yeah,
events.
because there's just so many of them, and they're doing backyard brawls, and I don't know who's fighting who, and all the time. And it's just I've been trying to put together a list, and I actually kind of started to put like a formula together to rank people, because I'm seeing people who are ranked number 1 that I'm like, I don't even know how he's even got a title shot. Like, he's got 3 losses and 1 win. It's just tough with amateur.
It is. I don't know if you'll ever get to the bottom of it, because people are secretive and people don't want their wins getting out there because they don't want their record to look too good so they can still get fights.
I was thinking of just putting a list together and just something that people can look at, because I know, like you said, amateurs do like looking at the rankings and being ranked higher than others. So
I think a real good medium as far as getting your site out there. Like, I know you write articles. I would write like a little short article about as many people as you can, and then every single person's going to share the little blurb on their Facebook.
Tag them on Facebook.
Yeah, the tag on the thing on Facebook. Get them on the Facebook, because I always like it when you see like you have a little official bar.
Kind of like I tagged you on on our thing
Yep.
from this last night.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I'm gonna put that up with the link and everything. And I'll write something nice about it. Like, come check me out on the podcast. Everyone's gonna be like, Eric really likes violence.
They already know that if they've ever listened to you on here.
And hit up.
Or have ever met you, period.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, how about this too? Let's put this out there, guys. When you listen to this, if you find it interesting, drop Kyle a line on any of his media platforms and let him know. If you're one of these people that go to his site, drop him a line. Let him know, hey, this is what.
Drop to us and we'll get it to him.
Yeah.
If you email me if you want directly, Kyle@mymmanews.com.
Yeah. Leave the comments on our Instagram when we promote them. We'll be promoting this. You see it on the Instagram. Leave a comment on the Instagram. Hey, you could tag at my MMA News on Instagram. Give the feedback. It'll help out.
Definitely, yeah.
But Dave, man, thank you for coming.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's good. It was good
Pleasure,
to get to sit down with you now. I mean, I met you a few times and you interviewed me, but it was good to actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. Definitely,
face to have a conversation and not have to answer interview questions.
I know it's kind of different being on like the different side of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's much more. I think just the interview thing is. It's just so formal, I guess. I think that's why it puts people off. That's why I'm a much bigger fan.
It's tough because when you call someone, it's tough. That's why a lot of times, if I can, I like meeting up with people at the coffee shop or something like that, and just talking and shoot the shit and whatnot. Although some people they like the structure and the formality of it.
I could definitely see why people would. I personally don't like it at all. No, I don't like it at all. I don't like the formality. I like having an open conversation. I don't very rigid.
That was perfect. It's just because he was the second Kyle said that, Yarbo immediately